internet, but I joined his court. I just got straight blue screen.
Ruined their own career. Rap has become increasingly popular worldwide, so much so that many music historians consider hip-hop to be the new pop for Western audiences. And while rap fans are notorious for their lifelong loyalty to their favorite rappers, the mainstream attention the genre has received has changed the way rappers find success in the industry. Now more than ever, it's possible for a rapper to reach meteoric heights of popularity.
I don't get on my big man. We're gonna do a big man versus big man.
However, this also means that the opposite is true. That it is easy to quickly ascend to fame, only to fall back into obscurity if the artist does not play every single card correctly. Unfortunately, this means that there are plenty of rappers who seem to have missed their chance at massive success. Whether it's because of an underperforming single, legal issues, or tragic circumstances. The last few years have been filled with rappers that have not been able to achieve the success the hip-hop community has.
I'm about to go to my court. You draw my
Before we get
court.
started, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Now here are 7 rappers that didn't live up to their full potential and basically messed up their own career. Let's start at number 7 with Lil Bibby. From 2013 to 2015, Lil Bibby established himself as one of the most promising new rappers in the scene. His debut mixtape, Free Crack, instantly received critical acclaim and earned him a spot on the cover of Vibe magazine. In 2014, the rapper scored a spot on the XXL Freshman list after Young Thug's cancellation and released the sequel to his debut mixtape, Free Crack 2. The free tape featured an array of high-profile guest features, including Wiz Khalifa, Kevin Gates, and Jadakiss. It was around this time that Drake bestowed Lil Bibby with a cosign that hinted that the two may team up for a collaboration. However, despite the critical acclaim of both of Bibby's albums and the attention he was receiving from a variety of industry veterans, his musical output suddenly slowed and his social media presence diminished. Over the course of the next 2 years, the rapper only released a total of 3 singles, offering little to no explanation for his absence. Finally, in 2018, Bibby revealed to his fan base that the record label was refusing to allow the release of his new music. As of today, Bibby has not released any solo music since 2017. Number 6, Tay-K.
De-stress with journal how-tos, even without Wi-Fi. Try YouTube Premium on us and reflect uninterrupted.
With the careers of internet rappers becoming increasingly shorter, we often hear jokes about the artists doing rap speed runs. And Tay-K, ironically best known for his single, The Race, is no exception. The Race, the track that single-handedly put 16-year-old Tay-K on the map, was also the obstacle that eventually prevented the rapper from finding lasting success. The track and its accompanying music video were released on June 30th of 2017. The very same day, Tay-K was taken into custody by police in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Police confirmed that Tay-K had been on the run since April of that year, after shooting and killing a 23-year-old man in San Antonio, Texas. The rapper continued to record music as a fugitive, including The Race. The track caught national attention for being an undeniably real chronicle of a criminal on the run from the law. The lyrics, which explicitly acknowledged the murder and his decision to flee from the law, was ultimately used as evidence in his trial, and Tay was sentenced to 55 years in prison. Overall, Tay's national fame started the same day that his personal freedom ended, and unless he's really good in jail, it doesn't look like the rapper will be headed to the studio anytime soon. Number 5, Schoolboy Q. Schoolboy Q has been battling with what type of rapper he wants to be for the majority of his career. Q has proved that he is capable of making massively successful mainstream hits, as well as thought-provoking and lyrically masterful concept albums. However, Q's inability to find a musical balance between music that is commercially marketable and music that feels authentic to his vision could be the very thing that prevents him from realizing his full potential as an artist. Q's major label debut, Oxymoron, quickly established him in both the hip-hop community and the mainstream eye. The album delved into the history as part of the Crip Gang and his struggle with substances, while also birthing tracks like Man of the Year, Studio, and Collard Greens, all which went on to be hits and receive substantial radio play. To this day, Studio is Q's highest charting song. Unfortunately for Q, the balance achieved in Oxymoron has proved difficult to replicate for him. His 2016 album, Blank Face, which displayed a darker and grittier sound, was well received with the hip-hop community, but failed to birth a well-performing single. And Schoolboy Q admitted his frustration.
Sis, join my court because I can't join yours.
The album sold about half as many copies in its first week as Oxymoron. 2016's Crash Talk aimed for jail sentence turned into a 30-month prison term when it was found out that he had an open warrant for a 2013 gun charge. It seems like Gates was on the cusp of reaching Drake-level fame, but sitting in prison for over a year ruined all of his momentum, and when he got out, he basically had to start from square one. Since then, he's released multiple projects, but hasn't had a hit song on the level of Two Phones or I Don't Get Tired. And while he still has one of the most loyal fan bases in hip-hop, there's no telling if he'll be able to undo the damage of that prison sentence. If anyone could do it, though, it'd probably be him. Gates is one of the most overlooked artists in rap. Number 3, Ab-Soul. In 2010, it seemed like Ab-Soul was poised to become a prominent force within the lyrical subgenre of hip-hop. In 2009, he formed a supergroup with his Top Dog Entertainment label mates J-Rock, Kendrick Lamar, and Schoolboy Q. However, while almost every other member of the group went on to achieve success that ranged from moderate to massive, Ab-Soul seemed to stay as the underperformer in TDE. Although TDE is home to some of the most famous rappers in the industry, the label is notorious for its inability to manage and promote its artists. In fact, most of the label's heavy hitters, like Kendrick Lamar and Schoolboy Q, have a joint contract with Interscope that allows them to access the promotional tools and resources of a much larger record label. Historically, even higher profile artists like Schoolboy Q, who sold 140,000 units when he released his album Oxymoron, underperformed when solely represented by TDE. Q's prior album, Habits and Contradictions, was promoted solely by TDE and sold a mere 4,000 units. Ab-Soul, who is known for his perfectionist tendencies, has still voiced frustration with the lack of promotion his albums receive, as well as TDE's restricted release schedule. However, for solo fans, the artist promises that an album will be dropping in 2020, and TDE has promised to give the album the release Ab-Soul has been hoping for. Number 2, Chief Keef. Can you think of someone who birthed more new rappers than Chief Keef? I mean, the guy pioneered a style of music video that's still being replicated to this day. Keef had a major record deal with Interscope Records, who seemed to be betting the house on his career. They reportedly gave him a $600,000 signing bonus, and he was still a teenager at the time. Being a teenager, Keef didn't recognize the opportunity that had fallen into his lap, and because of that, he kinda screwed it up. He missed the music video shoot for Hate Being Sober with Wiz Khalifa and 50 Cent.
There we go.
Skipped out
Let
on
me
shows
record now.
countless times, had lawsuits and criminal cases. He basically did whatever he wanted.
Hey, start the one we want,
And
sister.
while I can't exactly blame him for that, being he's so young, there's plenty of other artists who have become famous at that same age and handled it way better. Keith definitely damaged a lot of his relationships with people in the music industry, and it put him on a slow decline of never being able to top Love Sosa or Don't Like ever again. But it's not like he cares. He still makes enough money to live in California and splurge on jewelry and foreign cars. But it still pains his fans to imagine how much further he could have gone with his career. And at number 1, we have Fetty Wap. In 2015, Fetty Wap seemed to be the obvious choice as the heir to the trap music throne. His single Trap Queen was literally everywhere. A hit that was not only all over the radio, but performing equally well in the internet community. Fetty beat the claims that he was a one-hit wonder with the release of songs like 679 and Again, continually building hype for the release of his eponymous debut album. But Fetty's trajectory to fame seemed to solidify when his song My Way earned him a cosign from Drake, who even hopped on the official remix, replacing Fetty's longtime collaborator Monty. But despite the cards being in Fetty's favor, he was never truly able to replicate his 2015 success. Despite a few successful singles in 2016 such as Jimmy Cho and Wake Up, Fetty's mixtape Souvier attracted little attention. Most critics cited the rapper's lack of sonic evolution. He essentially oversaturated the market with his sound, decreasing its novelty and minimizing his staying power. For a brief moment, it looked like Fetty might have had a resurgence in popularity after being featured on Kiki, the single by 2016 breakout star Tekashi 69. Fetty took this opportunity to release the final chapter of his For My Fan series, which unfortunately failed to contain any tracks with mainstream staying power. Although Fetty was a charismatic and likable artist, it seems like a comeback is unlikely, unless the rapper completely reinvents himself. So do you agree with the rappers on this list? Let me know in the comments section.
You can't play with what it called.